Good evening. I hereby call to order this regular meeting of the Board of Education of the Wilmette Public School District 39 for Monday, February 22nd, 2016. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Here.
Tracy Kearney.
Here.
Cindy Levine. Here. But I can't turn it off.
Is it working? Hello? Oh. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, there we go. Everyone, can you hear me? Yes. Okay, great. Mrs. Littman and members of Central's Green Team are here tonight to share some of their Go Green efforts, and they will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Sustainability efforts can be found in all of our schools. Central School's Green Team is a great example of how our students take ownership of reducing, reusing, and recycling materials. Welcome.
Thank you for having us here tonight. I'm proud to introduce our Green Team at Central School. We actually have 44 members of fourth graders who meet monthly to talk about our sustainability efforts at Central School and how to best reduce, reuse, and recycle our materials. And they're here to introduce themselves, and also we have a few students who are actually going to be speaking and sharing just a few of the accomplishments we've done this year. Before the students, I do want to introduce the teachers. We have Mrs. Betty Dietrich, who is a fourth grade teacher, and Miss Joanna Patakis, who is our technology paraprofessional.
Hi there. We've been doing the Green Team since 2010, and this is by far our best team yet. The kids are very enthusiastic, and we're very proud of them. So we're going to go down the line here and introduce everybody, and then we'll have a couple kids speak.
Hello, my name is Jill. Hi, my name is Jacob Madden.
Hi, my name is Matt Sampson.
Hi, my name is Ava Pinkauskis.
Hi, my name is Catherine Kunzer.
Hi, my name is Audrey Pinkauskis.
Hi, my name is Ben Knutson.
Hi, my name is Elliot Hershey.
Hi, my name is Grant Purse.
Hi, my name is Jack Abanarshi.
We're very proud of our students. They've really worked hard, and they're going to give you a little bit more information. We have several of them that are going to talk.
Good evening, District 39 board members. We are members of the Central School Green Team and are very pleased to be here. You might be asking yourself, what's a Green Team? Our Green Team is a group of people, or a group that's open to fourth graders who are excited to learn about and help our environment. Every year, interested fourth graders can apply to be on our Green Team. This year, we have our biggest Green Team yet with 44 students. In our applications, we list ways that we want to help our environment. These become our goals for the year. Some of our goals this year are to do campus cleanups, help animals in need, host more walk-to-school days, encourage composting, and make movies encouraging Central to reduce, reuse, and recycle. We meet once a month during our lunch and recess time to work on these goals and plan upcoming events. Our team this year was so large that we've created mini groups that we've named the Happy Earth Group and the Green Machine. These mini groups rotate attending our monthly meeting and doing Friday morning announcements with Ms. Littman. One of our goals this year was to recycle markers. Elliot, who's here tonight, was actually the one to come up with that idea. After some research on the subject, we've partnered up with Crayola to reduce the amount of plastic in our landfills. We've set up a collection bin for old markers and have encouraged our students to participate by creating posters around the school. Students place their old markers in this bin, and when it gets to 20 pounds, we send it to Crayola, who recycles the plastic and other materials. We've already sent in 20 pounds this year, and our bin keeps filling up. Our Green Team is very big on recycling. It's the #1 thing we encourage at Central. Our students have paper for others bins in their classroom where they can share paper with other students that's only been used on one side. After they've reused their papers, they can be put into our Paper Tiger bins. Last year, we recycled close to 10,000 pounds of paper in our Paper Tiger bins. We also encourage students to recycle technology items such as ink cartridges, old cell phones, and batteries. We collect these items in bins in our lobby and send them to different companies that keep this electronic waste out of our landfills.
One of our upcoming events we will be participating in is the Going Green Matters Fair on March 13th. The fair is sponsored by Go Green Wilmette, a group we often march in the fair with. the holiday parade with. Central Green Team will have a booth that our members will run. We plan to have a display that shows all the ways that Central reduces, reuses, and recycles. Another thing we do at Central is we help out in the garden. We had members help guide students in the cafeteria to use our new composting bins properly at the start of the school year. We also take turns making sure the bird feeders are full all winter long. Finally, our biggest project is our pop tab recycling. We collect and recycle metal pop tabs that are found on soup cans, pop cans, and pet food cans, and any kind of can really. Each class collects pop tabs in their classroom. At the end of each month, a Green Team student collects them from the classroom, weighs them, and throws them away. The class with the most pop tabs wins a giant award called the Golden Pop Tab.
You must be wondering why we collect pop tabs. Pop tabs are small and easy to collect. They remind us that even the little things make a big difference. At the end of the year, we send all our boxes of pop tabs over to Ronald McDonald House Charities in Oak Brook. They send our metal to a recycling plant, which gives the cost of the metal's weight back to the Ronald McDonald House Charities. This charity provides a home to families near children's hospitals while their kid is visiting there. By sending our pop tabs to Oak Brook, we are directly helping kids and their families in the Chicagoland area. A pound of pop tabs is equal to 1,526 pop tabs. From 2010 to January of this year, Central students have collected 936,768 pop tabs. Our goal is 1 million pop tabs. We hope to reach that goal by the end of this year. You can find out more about our Green Team by visiting our website, which can be found on the Central School homepage. We'd like to thank you very much for inviting us here tonight and allowing us time to share our group with you. Now, if you will please rise, we'd like to lead you in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Thank you. Thanks. If everybody could bear with us some of that. We'll try to get those fixed. Keep yours on. Okay, I'd like to invite everyone to look at the artwork on the wall behind me. Central School students have created the artwork on display this month. The paintings made by first graders focus on line, shape, and primary colors, developing control and refinement in brushwork skills. Second graders used an overlapping technique to define space and added intricate patterns to their henna hands project. Third graders exhibited strong drawing skills and knowledge of warm and cool colors while learning bubble and block lettering. And lastly, fourth graders demonstrated keen attention to detail and the ability to create a mood in their eerie mixed media art. Can everybody hear me? Yes. Next, I'd like to seek a motion to approve the minutes of the January 25th, 2016 regular and executive session meetings. May I have a second?
Second.
Great. The motion has been made and seconded. Board members, are there any comments, errors, or omissions to the minutes? Okay, seeing none. All those in favor of approving the minutes as submitted, please indicate by saying yay. The motion carries by general consent. This brings us to the first opportunity for audience members to address the board. As a reminder, this is the monthly business meeting of the Board of Education, which is held in public according to the Open Meetings Act. During our meeting, we provide opportunities for the public to present to the board about district subjects that are of interest to them. If you have any specific questions, Dr. Lechner will respond promptly tomorrow. Are there any audience members who would like to address the board at this time? Okay, seeing none, let's move on with our agenda. The first are board committee reports. I'll give the first one. The School Finance and Facilities Development Committee met jointly on Monday, February 8th at the McCallion Center. We discussed several topics, the first of which were the bids for the summer construction work for the Harper Roofing Project and the new library, media, and technology centers at the junior high and Harper schools. We will discuss these tonight in more detail later on in our meeting. Is it working? Yay. Secondly, Mrs. Buscemi updated the committee on the status of the sustainability audit, which is underway in the district, and we will see a draft document of the results at the facilities meeting in April, committee meeting in April. Mrs. Buscemi also discussed a recent discovery in a crawl space at Harper where a roof drain was not connected to the sewer line, allowing water to drain into that crawl space. STR, our architects, are at Highcrest. I know it says it's on, but it's not really doing so. At Highcrest, which caused a power outage, and this has since been resolved since the meeting. The village of Wilmette, we have learned, has received a federal grant to reconstruct Locust Road from Lake Avenue to Wilmette Avenues. The school district legally owns the land leading to the center of the road, and the village has requested permission to access this property for road repairs. As far as we know, the work is scheduled to commence in the summer, and hopefully we'll be finished by then, but we'll be working with the village where we need to work on delivery of students to schools, et cetera, and safety for our students. Tony DeMonte reported to the committee on the progress of the technology infrastructure installation, and he stated that the work at Highcrest should be completed within the next 3 weeks. Finally, we discussed a new law that requires installation of carbon monoxide detectors in all of our buildings. The cost is approximately $142,000. We think that we will be phasing this work, and a plan will be put in place, and as long as we have that plan in place by next January, we will be in compliance with the law. So that work is taking place right now, and that was that committee. Insurance Advisory Committee, Mr. Steen.
Okay, the Insurance Advisory Committee met earlier today. We went over a number of items, starting off with the medical plans, Blue Cross Blue Shield of Illinois. The key numbers here are our loss ratios. For the 2015 plan year, the HMO had a loss ratio of 87. The PPO was at 101. So based on those two numbers, we're expecting that we will probably see a premium increase for the coming plan year. Our the current estimate from our consultant is maybe a high single-digit premium increase is what we expect. We will know more when we get quotes back and see them at our May 2nd IAC meeting. We also compared our current plan designs to educational industry standards. Our PPO has a relatively low deductible and high premium versus comparables. Our HMO has a relatively low ER and prescription copay rates. So those are areas to look at coming up. We also looked at our dental plan, our group life and long-term disability, and our Section 125 flex plans. They all seem to be in line with expectations, and the staff are happy with them. We don't expect to see any changes for the coming year. We discussed the open enrollment for 2016. You may recall that last year we changed a couple of our practices on open enrollment. We moved to a different provider for the online, and we moved up the time frame for June. The WA representative and the SSU representatives both indicated that they like these changes, and we intend to see them stay the same this year. We finally discussed the wellness programs. We have a number of ongoing programs, but I think the most salient issue was that we talked about the wellness screening program and identified some shortcomings there. We specifically not an insufficient number of before-school slots, which we think last year may have reduced our participation. So we're going to work on improving that this year, as well as potentially looking at different sites because of the parking challenges that we face. Finally, our next meeting of IAC will be on May 2nd.
Great, thank you very much. Community Review Committee, Mrs. Kearney.
Thank you. The Community Review Committee held its monthly board meeting Monday, February 1st at 7 p.m. at the McKayling Education Center. As a reminder, the committee is not looking at any new reports this year, but instead chose to do a self-reflection and audit of their current the current committee practices and are well into that process. Additionally, they're looking at their bylaws to ensure that those too align with any of the committee's recommendations as a result of their findings through their self-reflection and audit process.
Great, thank you very much. I think you also have the Educational Foundation report.
I do, and there's a lot of updates there. The District 39 Educational Foundation Committee met on last Wednesday, February 17th, here at the MEC at 7 p.m. A few updates. Trivia night, which was held on February 6th, was again a sellout event, and the foundation also met their fundraising goals, and as always, it was a great time had by all. The foundation wanted me to make sure to thank all of the community for the support and for everyone who made that night the success that it was. Science Olympiad hosted its open house just this past Saturday at the junior high, which is used to showcase this year's participants' activity and progress. Additionally, the Wilmette District 39 Science Olympiad students just competed in a competition in Grays Lake, and they're thrilled to announce that our varsity team placed 5th out of 23 other teams, and our junior varsity team placed 7th out of 18. Their next competition will be the regional competition on March 12th. And as we anticipate our students continuing in their success, that'll lead them to the next competition, which is the state competition held in Champaign, which will be on April 16th and 17th. Math in the Real World presentations are coming up at Wilmette Junior High School, and those will be on March 10th. That will be on March 10th, and Wilmette's very own Chris Carabas, owner of the Rock House, we'll be talking about how math skills are important for musicians from the perspective of a performer. So that should be pretty exciting for all. And then finally, mark your calendars again for this year's Distinguished Citizen event for Thursday, April 7th at Michigan Shores Club. As announced at the last BOE meeting, this year's Distinguished Citizen honoree is District 39 alum and New Trier graduate Keating Crown.
Great, thank you very much. And you have the WCSEA report also.
The WCSEA has not met since our last meeting. The next meeting is March 14th at 4 p.m. at Avoca.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
Next on the agenda is the legislative update. Ms. Alcantara. No, that's
All right.
part of the joint.
All right, we're working. Governor Rauner gave his State of the State address on Wednesday, January 27th, which was just a couple days after our last board meeting in January. The governor's plan to reduce pension costs includes a reduction in the end-of-career salary cap and a reallocation of pension costs to local employers for salaries in excess of $180,000. The governor is recommending immediate steps for the FY17 budget to help bridge the gap until long-term pension reform is passed. In his budget message, the governor said he supports Senate President Cullerton's pension reform proposal, which is based on consideration, but we haven't yet seen any indication that Cullerton plans to introduce a bill anytime soon. The governor's proposal would reduce the end-of-career salary bump from the current 6% limit to the prior year's annual increase in the National Employment Cost Wage Index, which most recently has been 2%. If a local school district were to grant increases above the cap, the employer would be liable for the pension costs. Payments under current collective bargaining agreements or contracts would be exempted until they expire or are renewed. The proposal also includes a provision that would reallocate pension costs to local employers for salaries in excess of the governor's statutory salary, which is currently $180,000. Local employers would be liable for pension costs attributable to increments of employees' salaries above $180,000. Other provisions in the governor's proposal call for all payroll to be included in the calculation of contributions in order to provide more level payments and using a 5-year phase-in of state contribution variations solely by changes in actuarial assumptions. Governor Rauner is also promoting legislation to support a plan to eliminate unfunded school mandates. Measures sponsored by Illinois Representative Sanadak and Senator Barrickman would eliminate restrictions on third-party contracting for services such as driver's ed, and would also give schools more flexibility in offering physical education. The Rauner administration says the proposal extends relief beyond Chicago public schools, although at first glance it looks as though the proposals would primarily focus on high school districts as opposed to K through 8.
Great, thank you very much. Moving on to information items tonight. The first is written communication. The board did not receive any written communications this month. Now let's move to administrative announcements. Dr. Lechner.
Yes, each time this year we have Daughters of American Revolution essay contest, and tonight we have some student winners to introduce you to, as well as hear some essays. I'd like to invite Evelyn Phillips of the Daughters of American Revolution to the podium, as well as Kelly Jackson and Aaron Schwartz, our teacher.
I'm going to start just by telling you a little bit about DAR, so everyone is always curious about exactly what we are. The NSDAR is a National Society of Daughters of American Revolution. It's a nonprofit, non-political, philanthropic service organization. The NSDAR was founded in 1890 with the simple mission of promoting historic preservation, education, and patriotism. So how do you become a member? Any woman 18 years or older who can prove lineage, bloodline, descent from an ancestor who was a patriot in some way in the American Revolution is basically what you need. So yes, genealogy is a big part of who we are. There are 3,000 chapters across the world, and here in our chapter was actually founded in Kenilworth, but we work with Wilmette, Kenilworth, Winnetka area. And we have 80 members currently, and we have been in existence since 1925. So every year we have this essay contest, and I've had the pleasure doing this for my second year. And the American History Essay Contest was established to encourage young people to think creatively about our nation's great history and learn about history in a new light. So a topic is chosen every year by the NSDAR, which is in Washington, D.C. They have a very large building there, and they have a large group of people that come together, and they establish an essay topic. So the topic this year was timely because we had our 250th anniversary of the Stamp Act. So in March 22nd, 1765, this new tax required all colonists to pay a tax on every printed piece of paper used. The Stamp Act was viewed by the colonists as taxation without representation. So what we asked the students, this was our topic, was to describe a colonial family's discussion about the new Stamp Act and what role it played in organizing the colonists against the British king and Parliament. And we have our two winners from the 7th and 8th grade that will be reading theirs.
We're going to invite all the winners up here tonight. We're going to start with Hermilia Cutler. She's 7th grade. Did I get that right? 7th grade, not 3rd grade.
Come on up.
3rd place, 7th grade. Congratulations. Maggie Van Doen, 2nd place, 7th grade. Gavin Fountain, 1st place, 7th grade. Okay. Emily Rivkin, 3rd place, 8th grade. Lydia Kaup, and she's not here this evening. Okay, 2nd place. And 1st place is Katie Pickens. Okay, I think we'll start with 7th grade first. So he'll read his story. Yep.
So this is a colonial family's reaction to the Stamp Act. The morning light spills through the parlor room-stained window, casting a golden glow, beautifying all the objects in the room. George and I sit in the tough chairs with Pa, puffing a cigar and reading his paper. As the owner of the Virginia Gazette, my Pa, Joseph Royal, read his paper from top to bottom every morning to make sure there were no glaring errors, and objectivity was evident for both our loyalist and patriot friends. But Pa, I inquire carefully, why do I have to do Maggie's chores? Why not George? Attired in his favorite blue coat, George whips his head in my direction with a look of promise of retaliation that would come later for my suggestion. Maggie has been sick most of the days this year. Having had a small fever, she seemed to never have fully recovered. Afraid for Maggie to catch another cold, Ma tries to contain her inside the house. George appeals to Pa. As the oldest child of the family, I already have the most chores to do. Pa doesn't answer, as something in the paper catches his eye. Just then, Mom announces that breakfast is ready. Maggie seems undubiously hungry, as she races to be the first to the dining table. Maggie, pale, breathes hard after her short run to the table. My appetite subsides somewhat when I observe the few loaves of fresh bread and a large bowl of sliced apples. My mouth speaks with my brain too slow to hold back the words. Ma, is that all? I blurt out. Ma, already teary-eyed all week from the terrible news that her sister had a stillborn child in the mother country, starts to respond. I wish I could console Aunt Sarah in person, and I wish I could retract my hurtful words to Ma. Pa interjects. As you know, Parliament passed that Stamp Act, which affects people who buy our newspaper. Sales have been dwindling. We have had a difficult period with our newspaper business. Ma and I have planned that if the Stamp Act were passed, we would move to Boston to live with Uncle Samuel. I cannot comprehend the words Pa is saying, tears welling in my eyes. I feel my legs moving my body out of the room, with shouts by my family to return. I sprint to the riverbank. For moments I do not know what transpired. The cool, crisp air renews my senses. It always helps me to write my thoughts in my journal. I pat my waistcoat pocket and fish out my worn, still striking red journal with golden engraving. I write August 15th, 1765. I pause, thinking about all the events of the morning, including the news that the colonists in Boston have now taken the peaceful protests to a new level of violence. An effigy of a stamp commissioner was hung from a tree. 5,000 people threatened his life. And we are moving to Boston. The Sons of Liberty is an active group there. It will be an exciting place to live, but fear balances my joy to live where the action will be. Life is hard here in Virginia, but I was born here. I know all the paths in and out of town. I will miss the bakery with Johnny cakes and corn pones. I will miss fishing with John, my best friend. I take the deepest breath I think I have ever taken. I close my journal and stand up. My childhood tree gives me strength as it obscures the view of the town below. 2 squirrels chase each other around the tree. There will be another tree in Boston with more squirrels like these ones. My family will keep me safe. I walk with determination back to the house. Feeling the anxiety still in me, my legs persist onward, willing my body to a new chapter for my journal.
That's Gavin Fountain. Thank you, Gavin. And now Katie Pickens, come on up. She is our first place 8th grade winner.
I'm going to read to you a colonial family's reaction to the Stamp Act. An ear-splitting screech startled me awake. I jumped and realized I had fallen asleep while hemming a coat. I roused myself and stumbled toward the shrieks in the next room. I entered the bedroom to see Sarah weeping and hobbling toward me as Judith scowled in the corner, arms crossed, glaring at her sister with disgust. "Mama," Sarah whined as she hugged my leg through my dress. I shot a steely look toward my older daughter, and she raised her eyebrows innocently. "We were just playing," Judith pleaded, handing me Sarah's withered cornhusk doll. This time I was queen, and she had to follow my orders. Dolly disobeyed and had to go to jail, she said, a mischievous grin spreading across her face. I sighed, exasperated. "Your father will hear of this. Judith, be kind to your sister," I said, disapproval coloring my tone. I kneeled down and lightly patted Sarah's cream-colored bonnet, her fiery red curls escaping from the pins in her hair. "Sarah, your doll won't go to jail. Now both of you go wash up for dinner. Your father will be home shortly." Sure enough, moments later I heard the creak of our front door and Meyer's hearty greeting. I lifted my petticoat and scuttled downstairs to meet him. He stood in the doorway, eyes twinkling as he returned my exhausted smile. Moments later, Sarah and Judith were squealing with delight as they welcomed their papa home. He tenderly gave them each hugs and announced that he was starving and needed dinner. We gathered around the table and listened silently as Meyer led the Hebrew prayers over the food before we ate. Our family made up most of the Jewish population in Easton, but we were well respected and well liked, mostly due to Meyer's magnetic personality. After marrying in Georgia, we moved north to Pennsylvania in hopes of making more money. Meyer, a charismatic man, became friendly with Thomas Penn, and together they co-founded Easton in 1752, when Meyer was only 19. He had always been an extraordinarily persuasive salesman, so he quickly became Easton's first and wealthiest merchant. He sold dry goods, tobacco, millinery, alcohol, toys, and a range of paper goods. He had political power, and his opinions were respected. "So," Meyer began, "what were you ladies up to today?" "Just playing, Papa," Judith mumbled quickly, avoiding his gaze. "I see," he said as we exchanged a knowing glance. This was not the first time Judith used her sister's sensitivity to torment her. "And you, my dear Rachel?" he inquired, looking at me as he ate. "Did chores around the house. Finally began to make Sarah a coat for the winter." "What happened to you today, husband?" I asked earnestly. "Sold plenty at the shop. Mr. Pettigrew bought a toy for his son James." He then hesitated, debating whether or not to continue. "What is it, dear?" I asked quietly, not wanting to pry, but desperate to know what had happened. "Well, you've undoubtedly heard the rumors about the taxes. Mr. Nelson stopped by the shop today. We got to talking, and he told me that the rumors were true," he said slowly, gauging my reaction. "You mean the tax on paper? The other ladies have been gossiping about it, but I didn't take it seriously. England's trying to tax us again?" I asked, surprised. "I'm afraid so. The tax is set to be enacted on the 1st of November. This will be disastrous for the store, but the blatant disregard of our right to determine what and how much to tax frustrates me far more than the money we will lose. I do not recall electing any Parliament members, so who are they to tax me? We should do something, Rachel. We took action last time with the Sugar Act, and it was overturned, he said, grasping my hand. If the Brits implement the Stamp Act, we will stop buying paper from England to sell in the shop. I took an oath of allegiance on April 3rd of last year, declaring myself loyal to the American colonies. So loyal I will remain, he exclaimed, slamming his fist on the table, a rebellious gleam in his eyes. I excused the girls from the table and turned toward Meyer. It seems to be the only thing we can do, I said flatly. My hands instinctively dropped to my stomach, feeling the baby inside me kicking. I looked into Meyer's eyes. I don't want to pay more tax to England, but above all, I want our families safe. Promise me that you won't join the Sons of Liberty. Meyer, they are too violent. They tormented that poor bloke, the tax collector. I heard they tried to get him tarred and feathered, I whimpered, cringing at the thought. I could see that Meyer was struggling. He had never been able to contain his passion, and I knew that he yearned to take action. Rachel, I know that I need to be here for you and for our family. He paused, his eyes lingering on where my hands now rested on my stomach. But those bloody redcoats are violating our rights, and this is only the beginning. If we acquiesce and let them take what is rightfully ours, the taxes will only increase. Do you truly want our children raised in a world without equal representation? I don't intend to join the Sons of Liberty, but I do not intend to sit idly by and do nothing. I stared at him, admiring yet wary. Meyer had always respected me enough to share his opinions, but I knew that he wanted to be on the front line, fighting for our rights and beliefs. As I rose to fetch the pudding for dessert, the foreboding thought of war entered my mind. Though I didn't like it, revolution seemed imminent.
Katie and Gavin, thank you very much. Excellent work. Okay, Dr. Lechner.
Yes, the annual League of Women Voters Student Government Program culminated this evening as students conducted a mock board meeting. I had the pleasure of attending and observed a great deal of planning, excellent presentations from iPads, thoughtful consideration as they debated. The topic this year was sustainability and school gardens. The administration identified many ways to use our gardens, considering health, safety, curriculum, technology, disability access, and finance, and they recommended a master gardener. The board, however, did not pass the master gardener, but they did approve added technology to the gardens. So I look forward to moving forward with that.
Okay.
And I want to also thank Eric Rieses and Aaron Schwartz again for leading this for the administration. And next is curriculum instruction update. I'm announcing the retirement of Melanie Horowitz this evening after 13 years of dedicated service to District 39. First, Melanie served as Central School Principal and then Administrator for Curriculum and Instruction. Melanie, thank you for your tireless dedication to District 39. The curricular improvements are many. Next month, she's going to provide the board with a State of the Department update. And with her departure, we're going to take this opportunity to review the curriculum department needs. We have a lot of new curriculum needs and responsibilities to consider, like sustainability, Science Olympiad, assessment, data management, technology, infusion, RTI, and student learning outcomes, to name a few. So Melanie, again, thank you. The summer enrichment program was online, and it opened February 9th, and so far we have 229 students that have registered for summer enrichment already. There is still room in classes. However, our popular classes, such as Coding Camp, Math Challenge, Rocketry Revisited, Cooking with Math, and Creative Cookery, are filling up fast, so please register soon. Finally, we received a commercial FOIA from Denise Burton of Bishop Plumbing this month, requesting a list of our backflow devices and when they were last tested.
Great. Thank you, Dr. Lechner. Next is our strategic plan updates, the first of which is the student learning objectives, links to instruction. Dr. Lechner.
Yes.
Oh, God, excuse me, this is the wrong thing. The first is the Library Media Center renovations.
Yes, this is another report supporting our ongoing efforts to renovate our outdated school libraries, which teachers are now calling Learning Commons. Becky Lippman is here, as well as Tony DeMonte, Kelly Jackson, and Sue Kick to share in this report. as the board considers this report, we're going to be later talking about the work at the junior high school in Harper, and this report should be helpful as we make our decisions. And I think Mr. DeMonte, you're first.
Good evening. For many years, District 39 supported a traditional library. Students were taught classic library skills that focused on locating materials and using reference resources. With the addition of electronic catalogs, online resources, and student research incorporating internet sources, the library expanded its curriculum to include the technology needed to access new information. Today, as recommended by the American Council on Education, Learning Commons intentionally include pervasive technology, group spaces, and learning services supporting all aspects of student learning. When you search the term library, you will find these images and a definition: a building or room containing collections of books, periodicals, and sometimes films and recorded music for people to read, borrow, and refer to. The Learning Commons in each building will become the learning hub for the school. It will provide opportunities for experiences that could not happen in a classroom or other existing space in the building. The innovative space will contain a growing array of hardware and software. Spaces can be shared among collections, technology, and a makerspace. As a result of the shared spaces, resources can be consolidated to meet demands. Staff can be shared and used as a support and co-teachers on innovative projects that require an innovative skill set. The American Library Association recommends the following strategic directions for libraries. A special note is the third bullet point, which references the concept of creation instead of consumption. Learning Commons is a flexible space which combines the library, technology lab, and a makerspace. It gives the students a place to design, build, and invent. The innovative learning environment we created is driven by the digital age and provides an environment where students are risk takers, innovators, and collaborators. These three areas work together to give the students a rich learning experience. The library provides the information needed to expand the curriculum. The tech lab gives the students the tools, while the makerspace provides the materials to produce the products of student learning. To support an environment where students are risk takers, innovators, and collaborators, here are a couple slides of furniture and tools that promote the new goals of learning, flexibility, and collaboration.
Now I'm going to give you an update on Central School's Learning Commons. That's a continuation of my board report in October. As you can see, we've incorporated all the recommendations into our renovated library space, and construction was completed over the summer. How we utilize our space over the last 6 months has been significantly different than how our previous library space was typically used, which included borrowing books, silent reading, completing research with mostly printed materials. Because of the expanded use of our space, we no longer call it a library. We actually refer to it as what it is, a Learning Commons. We have several areas for unique learning opportunities for students in our new space. We have a makerspace for tinkering and innovating with a variety of materials, including 3D printers, snap circuits, simple machines, and recycled materials. Our media studio has a green screen with lighting, props, costumes, a tripod, and an iPad for filmmaking. We have a community table that can seat an entire class of students. Collaboration booths are created for small group projects. We have technology lab for our weekly technology classes and a research lab for our weekly library classes. And yes, students still check out books. And however, we do have a research lab that extends beyond our printed materials. In our new space, students are able to express their creativity in innovative ways and build new knowledge connections. For examples, For example, our first graders are using a beginning coding program called Codable on the iPad minis in the technology lab. The flexibility of the Learning Commons allows them to problem solve the coding challenges together with several adult specialists as resources in one space. They are using a variety of robotics purchased by our PTA to enhance this coding program. This coding activity is a student learning outcome that is scaffolded at the elementary grades and prepares them for future computer coding classes at the junior high and beyond. A Central School parent, Bill Bostrom, as a graphic artist, is actually helping us with branding and marketing our new space. Here are just a few designs that have been shared with our Learning Commons Committee at Central School for consideration. And you can see it incorporates everything that our Learning Commons encompasses. So it's something that we're considering. This slide should actually look familiar to you. This was the last slide in my past presentation in October when I mentioned we're starting to move into our next phase at Central. We're looking at data, curriculum connections, collaboration, presentation, and tours. And now I'm just going to give you a glimpse and an update into each of these areas from Central School. We are currently tracking the usage of our new space compared to last year's library and technology spaces. Last year, we found we had 978 whole classroom visits from September to January. For this year, over the exact same time span, we've had 1,349 whole classroom visits for an increase in usage of 28%. Now, this increase in usage does not account for small groups who are utilizing our space for the first time, including students and their special ed team, the DST and her students, or students who come to Learning Commons to work collaboratively on group projects. We also had an additional 52 meetings in the space so far, including our PTA, village-wide PTA, the Ed Foundation, the district special ed department, and several central faculty meetings and committees. We're also using the process of teaching and tracking the usage of the 4 C's: communication, creativity, critical thinking, and collaboration. We actually learned we had to teach the children how to collaborate and communicate because classroom lessons are more structured and directed by staff. When children come to the Learning Commons, they have more open-ended problem solving. It's not as easy for students to complete the tests. They need more help and guidance than we previously thought. Central's new environment has also impacted how the teachers are instructing students. Classroom teachers are now working with the librarian and technology teachers to develop meaningful, scaffolded opportunities in the Learning Commons to align with the curriculum and identify student outcomes. With materials in our makerspace not found in a traditional classroom, such as snap circuits, robotics, simple machines, and building materials, all students at Central benefit from real-world extensions of the curriculum they are learning in the classroom. Many of Central's classroom teachers have been exploring STEAM, science, technology, engineering, art, and math activities that tie to everyday learning in the classrooms. The maker materials, from paper tubes to building blocks to electrical wires, have been turned into race cars, marble mazes, and houses. Having enrichment materials and resources centralized in the Learning Commons is cost-effective and allows for more teachers and specialists to be available to support the use of these unique tools. Based on some of the books we've read, our professional growth classes have been developed for staff. Our Academy 39 class, called Make, Hack, and Play, was open to all staff in the district and explored our Learning Commons makerspace. Teachers had hands-on experience with a variety of maker materials, from cardboard circuits, using a green screen, 3D printer, and the STEAM activities I discussed. They explored what a maker mindset is and how to tie it with their curriculum. We have collaborated a great deal not only in the district, but actually outside the district as well. For presentations, Barbara Unger, our librarian, and Lauren Collard, our technology teacher from Central, presented at a summer graduate seminar about Learning Commons one day over the summer through the University of Illinois. They were also approached by a scholarly journal called The Teacher Librarian and wrote an article about Learning Commons at the elementary level. This week, I will be joining Barbara and Lauren at the Illinois Educators Conference, and we will be teaching a half-day workshop to educators and administrators on how to implement a Learning Commons in the school setting. Since our Learning Commons opened, we've had many requests for tours. In fact, we had to create a website to keep track of them all. Over 15 local school districts have requested to visit our space because they're completing similar renovations in their libraries. Districts who have visited included Arlington Heights, Libertyville, Kenilworth, Deerfield, Skokie, and most recently, Winnetka. We're also providing tours to out-of-state districts. Educators recently came from Wisconsin and visited and plan to bring back new ideas to their districts. We had a national expert, Beth Holland, visit our space. She was in town at the end of the summer, providing professional development on Learning Commons in the area. Several reporters have visited our Learning Commons and highlighted our innovative space in their respective papers. Families new to our area also asking for tours. Families from other countries, including Sweden, India, the UK, and China, have all inquired about our Learning Commons. Not because they heard about it, but because this is the new expectation when they're visiting and touring schools in the area. Now, I know this is what you've been waiting for. What have we learned at Central? Students and staff have enjoyed our flexible space that the Learning Commons provides this year. Students have taken ownership of the space throughout the planning and usage. The innovative space can easily be transformed to meet the needs of a lesson, including large and small groups of students. Even our youngest kindergarten children can move the furniture. The lighting in the space is motion sensitive and can be dimmed for presentations and filmmaking. Our Learning Commons is the only large area at Central School with air conditioning. On significantly hot days, we can fit about 6 to 8 classes in the space on a rotating basis. The air conditioning is also essential to protect all of our updated technology. The green screen is large enough to fit an entire class and is utilized by classroom teachers, specials, and specialists. Overall, the space is being used as we had planned, and we are very proud of it at every grade level. Now, with that being said, of course, there's always lessons to be learned and changes that could be made now that we've lived in this space for almost 6 months. The electrical floor plan could have been enhanced to include additional outlets in the strategic places that we find are utilized by students. The lighting for the green screen in the media studio could be adapted for enhanced filmmaking projects. The modular furniture that was incorporated in this space allows for flexibility. However, we found it's a little hard to meet the unique needs of all body shapes and sizes, K4. Some modular seating, like the larger hokey stools, provided not to be so conducive for our littlest kindergartners. With many classrooms visiting the space, it's full of overflowing projects and recycled materials. Central is always adapting our storage space needs. The space has shifted from virtually no noise, when we had to remind our students about being quiet and whisper at the library, to a lot of productive and engaging noise now. So we're learning how to best manage that. And it's actually just a mind shift for many of us. Finally, leaving a few blank walls would have allowed students more voice in adding finishing touches to the space. Actually, our Central School students are currently looking at a space to add a Lego wall. And that is something that they have come to me making a request. And so we're looking at that and applying for a GRIP grant. So adding, those finishing touches would have been good to incorporate and to allow them once we've lived in this space. And now Harper School is going to give a little update on their plans.
Harper began the process of creating a flexible space with 21st century learning in mind after the 2012-13 CRC report, Review of Technology and Learning Environments. A committee comprised of parents and staff was formed to conduct research and site visits of 21st century learning spaces. Following an additional year of research, Harper began the process of making the current library a flexible space. The current library at Harper is primarily used for library classes. Kindergarten through 2nd grade have library classes 1 time a week for 30 minutes. Grades 3 and 4 alternate weeks between library and technology for 1 hour each week. At times, the space is used for whole group, level enrichment events, classroom research projects, and indoor recess. However, we don't have the current flexibility or space to house large groups. Additionally, groups such as student council or after-school clubs might utilize the library. Also, home in our library, we have our resources such as an iPad cart, some videos, books, of course, playaways, and a laptop cart. We also have a small green screen and are hoping we can enlarge that. For our current technology lab, it's housed outside of our library, and they also have classes for 1st and 2nd grade, 30 minutes a week, and 3rd and 4th grade, an hour a week, which is alternating. As I indicated, the current library and technology lab are unfortunately not located next to each other, not even close to each other. So without that, it's hard for us to do technology-infused learning and research. It's very difficult, and we strive for that 21st century learning environment. Revamping the current space would allow the technology lab, library, and differentiation support teachers' offices to be housed together and it would greatly increase the function and student usage of this space. Additionally, it would create innovative and collaborative teaching and learning opportunities. For example, multiple teachers could utilize the space for shared projects, small group work, and cross-grade level interactions. Harper has utilized Central School's newly renovated library technology space as an inspiration and a model. Through countless visits and conversations with Becky Littman, Lauren Collard, and Barb Unger, Harper has gained a wealth of information of lessons learned, if you will. Harper's Learning Commons Committee has facilitated the creation of a simple design that will meet Harper's needs for many years to come. The 2 small offices in the library will be transformed into breakout rooms. These rooms will serve as tinkering spaces and will be conduits for small group collaborative work. The current Teacher's Lounge, which is adjacent to the current library, will be renovated into a technology lab and shared office space for library technology and differentiation support teachers. An opening between the library and technology lab will unify the 2 spaces. A soft goods priority list for the current library was created, and new flexible on-casters shelving was purchased by Harper's PTO. Additionally, purchased were some small but forward-thinking items, such as we put casters on tables that we already had. We purchased a puppet studio, a small green screen. We hung wires from the walls so we could exemplify student work in the building, and we also painted a wall with blackboard paint so that we could have that student voice. Harper's partnership with the PTO for developing a Learning Commons has continued through monthly design meetings and additional soft goods ordering details. Flexible and collaborative tables, student-friendly seating options, movable whiteboards, partitions, tinkering items, and added technology are just a few things that were budgeted by Harper's current PTO for this upcoming current school year. We look forward to the endless innovative, collaborative, and messy learning opportunities that this space would provide for many years to come. And now Kelly Jackson will update you about the junior high.
Good evening. I'm going to take you a little bit back in time. The LMC, or Library Media Center, at Wilmette Junior High was first leased from the Park District in 1988, and the ribbon cutting for the refurbished space as it transformed from an early childhood center to an LMC occurred in the 1990-1991 school year. Since that time, over 20 years ago, the space has been used to house books and resources, to bring classes for instruction, and to house computer labs. With the advent of the one-to-one iPad initiative, the organization of the space has changed, as we have converted 2 of the computer labs in that space to large instructional spaces where classes can come to learn, research, and meet in small groups. You'll see from the picture, the one on the left is from the 1991 yearbook, and the one on the right is from present day. The paint and carpet colors have changed. Some of the furniture has been moved, and the old card catalogs are now on computers. But the spaces themselves have remained largely the same since 1991. Classes come to the LMC on a regular basis all week long. Students spread out to use the portable green screens and movable whiteboards that are available. They work on research for projects, and teachers invite guest speakers in to present to large groups of students. Over a typical 5-day week, the 5 spaces currently available for teachers to check out in the LMC are used about 65 to 70% of the time. This number doesn't account for students coming in before and after school or during lunchtime to use this space. Where our LMC falls short is in its flexibility, conduciveness to small group collaboration, and ability to inspire creativity. Due to the noise levels, small group collaboration can be difficult, and students are often seen finding spaces outside of the LMC in which to work, such as in hallways and corridors, or isolating a quiet space behind the high stacks of books to meet and plan. While there is space for presentations, the space is impeded by poles that were put in place to support the now transformed computer labs, and the lighting in the room makes it difficult to see presenters. Teachers are able to bring multiple groups of students down to the LMC at one time, but students report that it is difficult to move furniture to collaborate, and teachers report that their flexibility is impeded by the sight lines, so they often get caught working with one group and are not able to see or meet with other groups in the space due to not being able to see over the high stacks of books. Last week, I had the opportunity to attend a fan presentation by a panel of experts from Google, Wonder by Design, Digital Youth Network, and Design for America. It was moderated by Trung Lee, who has worked with all of our District 39 schools on redesigning our libraries. The title of the presentation and panel discussion was The End of Education and the Future of Learning. Themes from the evening's discussion focus on preparing our students for future learning by setting up collaborative work environments, breaking from the traditional mold of education by opening up spaces, allowing students the flexibility of time and space to investigate relevant problems and creatively develop solutions, and integrating subject areas to equip students to expand their learning to the broader global community. While these themes are currently evolving in our curricular work, we need the space and physical structures at WJHS to support this type of learning. New Trier High School is involved in its own renovation and reimagination of spaces as they plan for new environments such as the Innovative Center for Engineering, or ICE Lab, the Hack and Visualization Lab, a project playground, and a design sandbox. The plans for the large open library at New Trier include a space for small group work, large instructional areas, and quiet study. Likewise, similar reimagined projects have occurred at the universities in our local area. This summer, Northwestern will close its Mud Library to renovate and create a space for study and collaboration, a mapping software lab, a video recording studio, and a makerspace for creative projects. At UIC, the Richard J. Daley Library recently went through a complete transformation of its own and now offers flexible seating arrangements, quiet, comfortable places to study, and small group areas for collaboration. It also houses the new Idea Commons, which has been designed to integrate information resources, technology, and expertise as students research, collaborate, and communicate. Loyola is home to the Richard J. Klarchek Information Commons, which was developed jointly between the university libraries and information services. It houses space for group study and individual work and includes a digital media lab, group study rooms, a writing center, and a cafe. As the schools that we are preparing our students to attend are reimagining spaces, we too at Wilmette Junior High have been motivated to reimagine the LMC space as we strive to support all District 39 students who attend WJHS in opening opportunities for them to think flexibly, collaborate, communicate, and prepare for the future by breaking from the traditional structures currently in place. The design for WJHS was inspired by the need for increased flexibility, collaboration, and movement, and among highlights of our plan are small group rooms set up for discussion, planning, and presentations. We have 4 of them planned for the space. Soft furniture seating areas, and we are partnering also with our PTO to put together a plan for soft furniture and probably hard furniture too, conducive to partner work or quiet study. Flexible instructional spaces set up to house over 60 students at one time for whole group and small group activities, all with human and physical resources at each child's fingertips. Part of that highlight that I want to highlight is the availability of human resources for our kids. Throughout the planning process, our human resources, and when I say that, I mean our library media specialists, our technology infusion teachers, our DSTs, and other teachers that we have that move from place to place in our building have said it's often difficult to get to all of the kids that they need to get to with the current configuration of the space. And they, with the design that we have partnered to create, are really excited about the opportunities that they will have to interact on a broader basis with more children when they're in the space. A large flexible space is also included that can allow for presentations to over 60 people in a well-lit setting with flexible furniture, so you can create circles or rows or any kind of configuration that you can come up with. And space for a maker space where students can come to explore, problem solve, and find solutions to local and global issues. As we open up the spaces, we plan to open up the flexibility of scheduling of these spaces as well, to provide opportunities for more students to use the space before and after school as well as during lunch. So we're looking at opportunities to possibly check out spaces for kids, use small group areas on a rotating basis, and really increase the flow of students before and after school, which is a prime time for them to come and study and do work. While the LMC is currently used by teachers about 65 to 70% of the time for instructional purposes, we are confident that by reinventing and redesigning the current space, we will be able to expand on what teachers are already doing instructionally, provide flexibility and time so students can use the space outside of their set class periods, and place resources in the space to support collaborative learning, problem solving, and creation, thereby making the LMC a true hub of learning for Wilmette Junior High. Now I will turn it over to Gail Buscemi, who will talk about financial things.
We estimated that the cost of the Learning Commons is approximately $600,000, with some coming in slightly higher and some coming in lower. In addition, there are PTA and O donations that are being made. For example, the Central Schools PTA donated $110,000 for their Learning Commons, as you can see on this slide. It is important to note that the cost of the Learning Commons project has been built into our budgets, embedded into our long-term 5-year projections that were presented in December 2015, were all the negative consequences from the state, along with the cost of the Learning Commons for each of our schools. And it shows that we can't afford this. Are there any questions?
Great, thank you very much for an excellent report. Board members, any questions, comments? You guys, no?
I have a question specific to Wilmette Junior High School. Do both 7th and 8th grade class kids have the opportunity to take coding classes?
The tech applications class is for 8th graders currently, and that's the one that was primarily focused on coding. Currently, the 7th grade offering is still called Math of Economics, but we're looking at how do we expand the tech applications class.
Where are those classes taken now?
There's a classroom.
Okay.
They do go down to the LMC on occasion, but yeah, there's a classroom.
And then also, I wasn't aware, and I think it's cool if it's true, you can show up at the junior high and go to the LMC, the library at this point before and after school.
There are opportunities. We do a homework club after school currently in the library. So there are kids that go after school. It's less used before school, but really a goal of ours in transforming the space is making it more open for kids to come in and use the resources that are there.
So on off hours.
So on off hours, yeah. Currently we have about 20 kids per recess that we allow into the LMC. We'd like to make that number grow as well. In talks with our library media specialist, she's really interested in making it more of a free flow environment during those off hours and recess hours, so kids can take advantage of the space and meet with their groups so they don't have to go over to people's houses and things like that.
How do you qualify to go to the library during recess?
Currently, you have to have a pass from your classroom teacher, and then you trade it in for a pass to the library.
So you can just ask if you're a student, and then
you ask your classroom teacher,
right.
They write you a pass, and then you take it to the lunch supervisor who gives you a pass to the library.
And then, did I hear correctly that there are no longer the computers in the tech labs? There aren't.
We have one tech lab, one stationary tech lab, and that's planned. Currently, that's set up so that you have tables of 4 computers looking at the screen. In our plans, we want to create a more flexible environment, so you're not sitting with your partner and kind of looking over, but you're around a table and with laptops, much similar to the Central Learning Commons setup. So.
But one of those rooms, just if I heard correctly, is open now for
two of the spaces where we had computers. Yeah.
Okay.
So the back space, there were computers as a lab set up there, and then in one of the instructional spaces that we use now, there was a setup for 30 computers.
And all students at the junior high school currently have iPads, correct?
Correct.
Okay. There was another question I had that I can't remember. Thank you.
All right.
Great, thank you. Any other comments, questions? Seeing none, I want to thank you again for an excellent report. So Dr. Lechner, now we're to scheduling responses to board questions.
Yes, we have 2 reports to share with you, and I want to tell the board and the community that our attempt to simultaneously solve all of our scheduling needs has been challenging, to say the least. And we need to rethink our approach to solving our scheduling issues, and that approach is one at a time. We plan to address all of the concerns, like the morning wait at Highcrest, but the first step we need to look at is our master schedule. Now, tonight's report will not be about the master schedule. That one will need to be resolved and brought back later. But tonight's report will answer some of the board questions on early release and start and end times. Then we're going to pause on these 2 topics until we resolve our master schedule issues. And if you think about it, we need to work on our scheduling difficulties within the school day first before we'll be in a better place to address the concerns outside of the school day. So Dr. Glowacki and Ms. Horowitz have this report.
Thank you, Dr. Lechner. The report on early release in your packets is in the form of question and answer to board questions that arose after last month's meeting. The goal is to structure purposeful, directed professional development time with explicit direction to teachers on ways we expect the use of that time, and to remove the collaboration that is currently happening with substitutes to a model that does not depend on the use of substitutes. The first question we addressed was about ways early release time is being used by other districts, the research that supports these models, and whether there are tangible benefits. With all of the requirements on teachers, educational organizations emphasize the use of well-structured professional activities based around student data to improve growth and achievement. Use of data from process and impactful evaluations are among the recommendations for determining tangible evidence of the success of these professional activities. We understand that a shift to an early release impacts teachers, students, and parents, but the benefits can be substantial. The benefit is having the entire team of colleagues available at one time to look at data and to make decisions that impact student learning. Our current collaboration model does not provide opportunities to gather together an entire grade level with the instructional support teachers, such as those from student services, the differentiation support teacher, and so forth. Our response to this question provided specifics about the current use of time in Skokie 68 and Winnetka 36. These districts confirm that the consistent weekly early release time addresses school improvement goals, provides time for review and analysis of assessment data, and allows teachers to implement school and different district initiatives with integrity. The second question we were asked was whether we might reconsider early release for Highcrest and the junior high, and the answer is yes. We've already been considering some possible alternatives with the goal of minimizing or eliminating any impact on instructional time in grades 5 through 8. The third question asked whether districts are implementing longer school days or years as part of their early release implementation plan. With the exception of Deerfield, other districts reported an approach that ensured compliance with state requirements. Your board report details the approach of banking instructional time above the state requirements to enable weekly early release time. However, we understand that District 39 might want to take a different approach. Additionally, the weekly 1-hour early release would eliminate 2 of our current practices, which diminish K through 4 instructional time with the classroom teacher. The 2 half-days of early release for professional development, which yields 7 instructional hours, and 4 half-day collaborations in grades K through 4 with substitute teacher coverage, a gain of 12 hours of instructional time without substitute coverage. Question 4 asked for further clarification about instructional minutes needed for early release. We have left grades 5 through 8 out of this discussion for the reasons previously mentioned, but the table in your reports explains the instructional time needed to implement at grades 1 through 4, and then kindergartners will actually see an increase in time spent with their teacher. Question 5 asked for an explanation of the wide range of professional formats in some of the districts. Districts we contacted We're interested in pursuing early release as they, like us, are faced with increasing demands that require professional time for teachers. Some districts are further along in making that a reality than others, but we all watch each other very carefully, as you can tell. Question 6 addressed consideration for cost-neutral options for early release implementation. In terms of supervision, discussions with the support staff union could yield a cost-neutral supervision plan. As you know, many of our paraprofessionals are certified teachers. Determinations about the use of this supervised time would need to be determined and discussed with the union. And finally, we addressed a question about the scheduling of district committee work. Over the last 2 years, we have moved approximately 2/3 of District 39 committee work outside of the instructional school day. This has been done to decrease instructional time spent with substitutes and to address the substitute shortages that all districts are experiencing in the community. At this time, there are many moving parts associated with school schedules, including the development of the master schedule, as Dr. Lechner mentioned, the start and end times of the school day, the high-crest teaming structure in grade 5. We are therefore pausing consideration for early release model, which we believe has great merit, until these other factors are prioritized and resolved in a more sequential manner. At the appropriate time, the board may expect continued exploration of the early release option. Happy to take your questions.
Great. Does the board have any further questions or follow-up after the report? Tracy?
I do. I just understand this isn't going away, this consideration. It's just going to be considered on down the line as we have prioritized the 4 different scheduling things that we needed to look at to.
Correct. It's
Okay.
not going away, but it's paused until we get our master schedule figured out.
Perfect.
Great. Thank you very much. Thank you, Noni. Start and school day options.
Dr. Glowacki.
Okay. In January, Melanie Horowitz and I shared information with you regarding the potential impact of changes to the start and end times. At that time, there were some questions raised, and we will work to address those questions tonight. The first question that was asked related to how many Avoca students participated in the band and orchestra programs in 7th and 8th grade. Specifically, there are 9 Avoca students who come from District 37 to Wilmette Junior High for band instruction before school, and they received band sectional instruction throughout the week as well from a District 39 staff member. We then looked at the number of Wilmette Junior High students who participate in the before school orchestra program at Avoca. There are 53 junior high students from District 39 that go to Avoca for before school orchestra instruction, who also receive sectional support throughout the week. The next question posed to us to address was regarding the cost of extra supervision. So in the event that we were to change the start time for the Wilmette Junior High school day, there could be a potential gap between when the before school orchestra program ended and school started. What would we do with those students? And so in the event that that were to take place and we got to that point at some point, we would be looking at the cost of that. It comes to roughly about $1,200 annually to provide supervision for that half hour of time. If District 39 at some point determined that they could no longer partner with Avoca, consideration would need to be given to the additional cost of an orchestra teacher. We wouldn't want to not have orchestra instruction available to our students. We currently pay a portion of the orchestra teacher cost that Avoca incurs, and we would need to pick up the balance of that. Finding a part-time orchestra teacher is difficult at best, so we would anticipate a full-time cost for a teacher that roughly would be about $25,000 annually. And finally, I think even with more serious concern would be space and whether or not we could support a before school orchestra rehearsal within our current space at Wilmette Junior High. In talking with the administration there, the only available space that seems viable would be the auditorium. And to set up the auditorium for morning rehearsal 4 days a week and then take it down would come with a significant cost, both financially as well as the overall impact of that space being used before school. The financial the financial cost annually would be about $5,500. The cost to the space, so to speak, would be whether that space would be available to students and staff before school started, as well as during homeroom and probably first period by the time the takedown had transpired. So those are the factors that we believe needed some more information to be shared with you, and we wanted to make sure you had that as we pause with regard to this concept.
Great, thank you very much. Any follow-up questions? Okay.
I have a question. How is the auditorium currently used at the junior high right now, before or after school?
It's, I believe, but Kelly can correct me, I believe it's used as needed, so it isn't an automatic, it isn't a space that's devoted daily for a certain specific task or activity.
Kelly, what's it typically used for as needed?
Before and after school, it's used on a pretty regular basis by drama for like the fall play for practices. Youth Connection comes in for the spring musical, Battle of the Bands. It's used on a pretty regular basis after school. Before school, it's not so much that half hour before school. It's more about being ready for first period or homeroom. We have homeroom assemblies on a regular basis during our Thursday extended homeroom. And also, there it goes. We have first period, our classrooms use it on a regular basis for different projects that they do, presentations. So the space needs to be ready on a pretty regular basis for first period.
Thank you.
Okay, great. I have one question. I emailed you about this, but I would imagine there would be a cost for high crest also. We talked a lot about junior highs, but if we split out our orchestra program and had our own program, our 5th and 6th graders are also part of the orchestra program. Are there space considerations for High Crest and cost considerations there too?
So High Crest actually has its own self-contained program already.
Oh,
There's
it
a
does.
teacher
It's
there, and there's a
self-contained.
space that's allocated for it. So,
Okay.
So whether we continued our partnership with Avoca or not wouldn't have a significant impact on High Crest.
Okay, great. Okay, thank you very much. Any other questions? No? Okay, so let's move on to annual business, the summer 2016 construction project bids.
Yes, the district received 3 separate bid packages on February 3rd at the MEC. The first is roof replacement at Harper School. There are 7 sections that need to be replaced. We're following our long-term maintenance plan when we look at roof replacements. The second is Harper School Library Media Technology Center renovation. The third is the junior high renovation, both of which you heard about tonight. Ms. Chemi, anything to add?
No, I have nothing to add.
Are there any comments or questions from board members? Nope. Okay, seeing none, let's move on to our board policy review, the first reading of revised board policies.
Yes, we're marching through our policy review, and there are 5 policies presented for first read tonight. The changes that you see in the first read are recommended by our legal counsel, Dr. Glowacki.
Yes, as Dr. Lechner mentioned, there are 5 policies presented tonight for first read. The one policy that I would direct the board's attention to is 2:00, which is a general policy statement. It is not required legally to be part of our policy document, so I think there's a discussion that should be had as to whether we want to continue, revise, or somehow convey what's stated here, perhaps in a different way.
Okay. Great. Do board members have comments about these policies? Corrections, deletions, changes? I just want to mention that publicly that I did email you some questions. I think you've responded to those, so those would be comments coming from me. I don't think we really need to discuss them further. Okay. Okay, seeing no questions, let's move on to our second and final reading.
And these are policies that we reviewed last month, and they're ready for board approval tonight. They've had the final attorney approval. Dr. Glowacki, anything to add?
I don't believe so. We made the changes that were recommended last time.
Great, thank you. Any other comments by board members? Okay, seeing none. Let's move on. This is the second opportunity for audience members to address the board. Are there any audience members who would like to address the board at this time? Okay, seeing none, we will continue with our agenda. Moving on to action items is the next order of business. The next order of business is our consent agenda. Are there any items that the board would like pulled from the consent agenda? Okay, seeing none, Ms. Levine, will you please proceed with the motion to approve the consent agenda?
Move that we approve the personnel report dated February 22nd, 2016. Move that we award the base bid package per bid specifications to the following contractor for a total cost of $176,975. Contract value listed below includes the base bid only for Harper Elementary School roof removal and replacement bid to Taylor Roofing Solutions for an amount not to exceed $176,975. Move that we approve the first reading of the revised Board of Education policies 2:00, General Policy Statement, 2:10, School District Governance, 2:125, Board Member Expenses, 2:130, Board Superintendent Relationship, and 2:140, Communications to and from the Board. Move that we approve as second and final read the revised Board of Education policies 2:105, Ethics and Gift Ban, 2:110, Board Officers. Move that we approve the accounts payable for bills listed between January 26, 2016 and February 22nd, 2016 in the following amounts: the Educational Fund, $300,120.37, the O&M Fund, $220,685.76, Transportation Fund, $140,206.98, Capital Projects Fund at $413,866.90, for a total all funds of $1,074,880.01. Move that we approve the manual checks issued between January 26, 2016 and February 22, 2016 in the following amounts: Educational Fund, $434,064.02, O&M Fund, $27,780.89, Transportation Fund, $1,546.12, Life Safety Fund, $120, for a total all funds of $463,511.03.
Thank you very much. May I have a second for the motion?
Second.
The motion having been moved and seconded, would the clerk please call the roll?
Yes.
John Flanagan?
Yes.
Tracy Kearney?
Yes.
Cindy Levine?
Yes.
Frank Panzica?
Yes.
Mark Steen?
Yes.
Alice Shaw?
Yes. As moved, the consent agenda is approved. Next, I will seek a motion to approve the Wilmette Junior High School large space HVAC and library media technology center renovation.
So moved.
May I have a second?
Second.
Okay, the motion's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, would the clerk please call the roll?
Yes.
John Flanagan?
Yes.
Tracy Kearney?
No.
Cindy Levine?
Yes.
Frank Panzica?
Yes.
Mark Steen?
Yes.
Alice Shaw?
Yes. The yeses have it. The motion is carried. Finally, may I have a motion to approve the Harper Library Media Technology Center renovation?
So moved.
May I have a second?
Second.
The motion has been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Will the clerk please call the roll?
Yes.
John Flanagan?
Yes.
Tracy Kearney?
Yes.
Cindy Levine?
Yes.
Frank Panzica?
Yes.
Mark Steen?
Yes.
Yes. The yeses have it. Motion is carried. Moving on to conference items. Is there any old business? Any new business? Good and welfare. Okay, seeing none, may I seek a motion to adjourn to executive session to discuss student matters, collective bargaining, and specific personnel?
So moved.
May I have a second?
Second.
Motion having been made and seconded, will the clerk please call the roll?
Yes.
John Flanagan?
Yes.
Tracy Kearney?
Yes.
Cindy Levine?
Yes.
Frank Panzica?
Yes.
Mark Steen?
Yes.
Yes. Motion carried. We are now adjourned to executive session. Thank you for attending.